Hey, this is Alachia,
And this is Strumpet.
and we're bringing our first 5 of 5 video, which is really fun for us because we get to Skype and see each other.
That's right.
Yep. And today we are exchanging, well, we're not going to do 5 of each. We're going to do 3-2 split this time because I think it might be a little bit lengthy because it's more story based and has a little bit more explanation as opposed to just here's my 5 things. So it's 5 little known facts. So 5 facts either she and I might not know about each other, or people just might not know about each other.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and you're starting because you're doing 3 and I'm only doing 2.
Because you're cheating and doing
Yeah.
2. Okay, what should I start with? My mind just went totally blank. I had it all planned out what I was going to start with. Oh, did you know that I worked in the first ever drive-thru in Norway?
No.
Like the first ever drive-thru restaurant.
Like, did you man the window?
I started by manning the window, and I ended up being a shift manager at McDonald's. Yeah.
Did you like catch up with that?
Yeah. We actually had to go. So this was the first McDonald's in Bergen, which is on the west coast of Norway, and it was the first drive-through in the whole of Norway. So before it opened, me and this guy and a girl who's still one of my best friends in Norway had to go to Sweden for training. So we got sent to Stockholm to train how to do the drive-through window. So yeah. But no one in Norway, and then when we finally opened, no one sort of understood really how it was supposed to work. So yeah, it was a fun training trip. I can tell you, I was like, what was I, 20? So it was like I started there. I was not at university at the time, and then I went back to university, and I sort of stayed there working part-time, or actually almost full-time for a few years. So yeah.
How do you say, would you like to supersize your fries in Norwegian?
Well, we don't really supersize. So, men skal det være stor. So that's, you want a large one. Would you like a large one? Yeah. Yeah, and so we had the little headsets and ran around.
And you had to wear the uniform?
Oh, yeah. I started in the crappy, horrible, stripy, terrible uniform and moved up to the blue uniform with the blue skirt. Yeah, when I was a manager. Yeah.
You know what I noticed, though, here in Europe is that it seems like maybe I'm generalizing this. This is just from my take of living in Texas and stuff.
Yeah.
But people who work in McDonald's and drive-thrus and, Burger Kings and, they generally, it's just kind of like seen as a, very part-time, either part-time job or very low minimum wage type job, right?
Yeah.
And it's not very hip, it's not cool, to be working at it. Over here, though, it seems like a cool thing to do.
But it was very cool when I was
working there. It's like the thing that all the hip, young people go do to work at, at McDonald's. Like, when I go look at them, they're all, super, I don't know, the way that they present themselves, the way that their hair are, and the way they're groomed, and the way that people receive them. They're just so happy, and they're all it's almost like working at a mat counter, it's just as
I know, it's
just
like
hip,
not McDonald's, but everybody wanted me to get them a job, everyone wanted a job at McDonald's because it was like a really good place. You got free food, and you got all this stuff, so it was definitely the place to be. I
wonder if it was because it's an American thing.
I think it might be. So because it's the American. You sort of have the cool McDonald's thing, especially because it was brand new. Yeah. And I know one of the guys who became manager with me, just shift managers, he actually ended up buying two of the restaurants that ended up opening in Bergen, as you know, he runs them now. He owns them. So it was seen as like a sort of a business person's way to work their way up into the whole owning a franchise sort of thing. So yeah, no, it was it was very different. It was the cool thing to do.
Yeah, and also all the McDonald's here they're really fancy. They're not run down like the ones in the States are. They're like 2-story. They're all posh. Like the McDonald's I was in when I passed the one in, I think it's in Cologne, I can't remember. But I passed it and it had these really cool, like modern looking yellow and green and red chairs and these sofa sets and everything. And it was just like a cool place to hang out. And I'm like, this is not the McDonald's I'm used to. But yeah.
No, they were not a lot nicer. The one that's in downtown Bergen, well, there's actually two, but one that's in sort of the historical wharf district, it doesn't look like a McDonald's. Like it has wooden siding on the outside. It looks like a really sort of nice place. So yeah, so that was my sort of the drive-through queen experience. It was
well, let's see, I don't really know of, I guess I worked at Pretzel Time. That's
in the mall.
In the mall, and it's the place that sells like the. I only worked there for like a month and a half, and because I wanted to save up money to go on this road trip with my girlfriends from high school. This is the year we graduated from high school, and we were going to go on this huge road trip to New Orleans and Florida, Destin, Florida, and I needed money to go, and it is, and so I got a job at Pretzel Time where my best friend worked. And it was
They're like
awful.
big pretzels, right?
The
like
big
you get in
pretzels,
the movie theater.
Yeah, I had to learn how to like flip them, because you have to make them by the windows.
Oh, you actually made them?
Yeah, you roll them out, and then there's this like method to like flip them all at one, go and stuff. And the really cool thing is you got all the free pretzels that were left over for that day. So I'd go home with bags like this big full of pretzels, like all the different types, the salted ones, the cinnamon ones, the garlic and cheese ones, and all
So what's
that
the
stuff.
most popular pretzel, do you think? Because like Europeans don't get pretzels like that. Not really.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that the most popular one was just the plain salted one. And I guess the second most popular one was the one where you sprinkled it with a little bit of the garlic cheese stuff.
Okay. I haven't tried that.
And then the third is the dessert one where you sprinkle it with like the cinnamon and the sugar, because it was more of a dessert based one. But I hated working there. Like the manager was crazy. I mean, she was like psychotic.
Did it make your hands smell?
No. I wore gloves and stuff. But she would come out in the middle of like a shift, like while we're all working and everything, and she like with customers in line and everything.
Yeah.
And she would be like, "Who didn't flush the toilet? Who didn't flush the toilet?" And we were like,
like customers want to know that.
She was psycho. I think she ended up getting fired, a couple of months after I left. She was pretty insane, but she was all the like cups had to be like even and stuff, and you constantly had to be cleaning the whole place. And
if you can lean, you can clean.
Yeah,
that's what they say at
exactly.
McDonald's.
I was like, I'm out of high school. Come on, like pretzel joint.
At McDonald's, you know those reconstituted onions that are on the little hamburgers and little cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
I swear, I swear, I could still smell that in my sleep sometimes. If I wanted to, I can still smell that smell. It never got off your hands. It was awful.
No, that was the good thing about working at Pretzel Time is the smell was amazing. Bread, freshly cooked bread all the time. Oh, yum.
So did you spend all the money you earned since you worked at the mall?
I did. I mean, I was made minimum wage, so it didn't take much, to spend it all on a road trip. So.
Yeah, but you didn't spend it all in the mall? Because that would be like the death of me working in a mall.
This is before I was ever into spending that much money, it's only recent that, I have gotten into retail therapy in the 20s. Before, I mean, like, because when I was a kid, $20 was like, whoa, I'm rich, $20, like,
Yeah.
I can buy, like, those little troll head things at the mall, and like all sorts of like wacky, crazy things I totally didn't need. But like, I wasn't really. It really wasn't until I got a job, and then I realized that I could finally like just buy the things that I wanted to buy when I wanted to buy them. My father was constantly always in the back of my head, like save, 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 So I didn't spend much money, growing up until much later.
My family was always spend whatever you have.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Really awesome.
It's not a new concept for me.
In fact, to this day, my mother still hates to shop. She cannot stand to go shop or spend money. She has no problem with the actual losing of the money to gain stuff, but the process of shopping she just hates. She doesn't like to go out shopping. My father loves to shop, but he doesn't like to spend money. So he's a big couponer and,
I think you showed a picture once of like stored baby magic and stuff that he's got, like the baby lotion.
He gets stuff for like free. Like, I didn't show it, but I had this care package sent from them. And my father is like this extreme deal finder. And he'll find deals out of nowhere. I don't know where he finds them, but he finds them. So I asked to get the Colgate,
the toothpaste.
Yeah, the toothpaste that I really liked, and it was the freshman one or whatever, with the extra stuff, and it was kind of rare to find here. So I asked him to like just send me one from the States, next time they send a care package. I got like 5 when he sent it. I was like, why did you send me so many? He was like, they were free. I was like,
they were free?
Yeah, he's like, he went into like, CVS or Walgreens or whatever, and they were having this big sale thing, and it was like buy 1, get 2 free or something like that, and so that's why he has a lot of stuff in like our bathroom at home. Like if you look in it, there's like 500 bottles of shampoo and shaving cream and deodorants, even though none of us really wear deodorant because we don't.
You'll be ready for the apocalypse.
Yeah, the apocalypse. Yeah. We'll be the cleanest people for the apocalypse. And hairspray, which we don't even use hairspray, and stuff like that. But I was like, I finally when I got out of like way after I started working and stuff, and I came back home and I was looking, I was like, Dad, this stuff expires. You know what I mean? Like this stuff actually does have lotion does have an expiration date. So 5 years out, I mean that stuff is getting kind of pretty bad. So I was like, but he's like, it's free. So what the heck?
We'll just keep it.
Yeah.
And in an American house, you can actually find places to store it. You just it's in the cupboard in the extra bathroom.
Here I can't even store an extra one thing.
Yeah.
Like I have to wait for it to pretty much be out to go out and get another thing. Otherwise, there's just no room.
Yeah.
It's completely opposite from the States where I had so much storage I didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Now I have no storage. I don't believe in closets here. I don't know what it is.
No. Okay, so your turn.
No, it's your turn.
Was that your little known fact?
Yeah, pretzels.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot. I totally spaced the pretzel story. I was like,
with the little bonus of my father being a uber super.
Yeah, see, so you have plenty of things.
So yeah, it's yours now.
So I think you might actually know this, but I don't know if you know that much about it. So I used to be the crazy cat lady. Like I used to breed Bengal cats. Did you know that? Have I told you that?
I knew you mentioned that you bred cats. Well, I didn't know if you bred. You said you showed cats. I didn't know you bred them.
Yeah, I bred and showed cats. When we moved, we lived in Colorado before when my youngest was born. So we moved here in 97 and then we left here again in 2000. And I had a 9-month-old when we moved here, and then a year later the other one was born, and I think my brain fell out with them. because I think I was just desperate for something to do that didn't involve caring for toddlers, basically. So I've always loved cats. I mean, I love cats. They're like a house without a cat is not a home. So you have to get your cat over there. But and I decided that there was this new breed, and I really should have brought a picture.
Well, I can insert it.
Of Bengals. They're bred with like a certain wild jungle cat, and then 4 generations down they're considered domestic, and they were a new breed. And I decided I was going to breed them. So I had my first female shipped up from Texas, and then I got another female, and I started showing them, and I ended up with, at one time we had 11 kittens in the house.
What?
Yeah, and I had this giant, in our basement, I had this giant, huge cage. It was like I think it was like 11 feet by like 9 feet by 10 feet, giant cage. And it had like spray walls, walls to stop cat spray from getting out, and that's where I kept my stud cat, Nut, because he was kind of a nut. And we'd let him out into the house, and he'd wear this it was like they were called stud pants. They looked like little diapers. Yeah. And he'd run around the house in those so that he wouldn't spray everywhere, because you know how cats spray. And so I had 11 kittens in the house, and Bengals are crazy. I mean, they're like totally insanely athletic and active. So they were all over the furniture and all over the house, and I showed them, and I was in the cat world, you know. It's like a whole different, you think gaming is a subgenre. I mean, the cat world is like a totally different world. And I was going to actually judge. I wanted to be a cat judge, because whenever I do something, I tend to do it really full on, you know. So I'd be driving to cat shows from Golden, Colorado to Albuquerque and to Omaha, and I even went all the way to Abilene once for a weekend to show cats, and I flew to Baltimore. And so one of the things you had to do to become a judge was you had to not only breed your own breed, but you had to show a cat that was the opposite hair length of your breed. So Bengals were short hairs, and so I got my Norwegian forest cat, and that was the Tufty that died last year. So so I got him to show, and he was this calm, cool, collected, gorgeous cat, and I decided I didn't want anything more to do with Bengals. and I actually sold my stud cat Nut. He actually went to New Zealand. He's probably not still servicing, but he was a stud cat in New Zealand. So yeah, so we had 2 kids both of them under 4, and 11 kittens, 3 females, and a stud cat yowling in the basement at all times. It's like insane. I can't believe my husband lets me do this, you know, but yeah.
So what happened to the kittens?
They were all sold home to good homes, yeah.
Yeah. So why do you have to show a cat opposite of the hair length of the cat that you want to judge?
No, you have to judge all breeds. So you have to show a cat that's the opposite length of the one that you breed yourself.
Yeah. So
that you learn what a long-haired breeder would have to go through to show a long-haired cat. Yeah.
Okay. So because you'd be judging all sorts of cats.
Yeah.
Then.
You judge every breed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had to, Tufty was a 5 shampoo for his shows. He, you started with goop, you know, the stuff that mechanics use on there to get all the grease out. And then I use like a shampoo for brunettes because they have that for cats. And then I used a white shampoo on his like white paws and white parts, and then I rinsed with vinegar because you want to make sure all the stuff is out, and then you use like a bay rum spray on him to get him all shiny and lovely, and baby powder and his white stuff, and he was,
oh my god,
yeah. But by the time he was like 3, he would not, like, I only showed him his first year and a half, but I tried bathing him when he was like 3 once, and he was like, no, I've done this, I'm not doing this again. He wouldn't let me do it anymore. So yeah, I'm never having short-haired cats again. They're like insanely athletic, most of them, so that's why I have long-haired cats now, because I guess I just got over it.
My Desi is pretty calm.
Well, she's older though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She still acts like a kitten though, I suppose, but she's pretty calm. She's not like hyperactive.
No, she's not. She watches you.
Yeah. And I like having an all black cat.
Yeah, I would like a Bombay because they're all black. Yeah. When I met Desi, she was like trying to get in my mouth. I think it was my lip gloss I was wearing, or so she was like up in my face, sniffing at my mouth. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cute.
Well, Daisy did too.
Yeah, I think it must have been my lip gloss.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's the crazy cat lady story. I told John he'll know if I'm really going like loopy again if I decide I want to show cats again. Yeah. So.
Let's see. Okay. This one's kind of short. But when I was a teenager, I was like a big Trekkie, and stuff, and I loved the idea of Star Trek anyways. I didn't really get into the series until Voyager, but I wanted to be able to do, the Vulcan hand signal, right? I couldn't do it. Like, my hands wouldn't do that. Like, one would always pull towards the other side or, whatever. So I would sit in class, on my hands on the desk like this, and I would force them apart like this, and I would literally sit in class
training
the whole
yourself
class time to like stretch to get my fingers to actually like train in them to be able to do this.
Did you play an instrument at all?
I played the piano. Yeah.
And you still had to really, because you would think that your fingers would like obey you for.
Well, the fingers. My fingers were definitely agile for a piano play, but like, there's never a thing in piano where you have to go like this. So yeah, I sat there and I trained until finally I was able to do it. I was like, I got it.
Did you do like a little yell in class?
Yeah. Live long and prosper.
So you said you were a Trekkie, but you didn't really get into the series?
I loved the idea of sci-fi. And I love the idea of everything set in space with all the technology there. But I had a really hard time with the earlier series because I found them very boring. They're more politically based, they're more diplomatic, they had a lot of social dynamics that I wasn't that interested in. So it really wasn't until I got into Voyager where we really got to get into like the quantum physics stuff and all the really cool, because what happened in Voyager, if people don't know, is they took the entire ship and they threw them off into some Delta Quadrant where there's no other civilizations that are known. So there's no like big, political battles between, all these different planets and stuff like that. It's just explorers, out in the space. And so that's why I ended up really loving that series, and so I finally got into being into an actual full-on series. Otherwise, all I ever did was watch for TNG. I would just watch different episodes that I found interesting, that were very more heavily sci-fi based and not the political based ones and the diplomatic.
Because I've never seen anything but the original.
Oh, really?
I've never watched I never got into watching the others. I think it's because I really didn't like the original that much. So I mean, William Shatner is always like being tricked by women in their little short little dresses and stuff, and it was like every episode it'd be like William Shatner doing some stupid thing, you know, and I felt like, and I wonder which one stole it from the other one, you know. I want to know, because it looks exactly like it, just the way it sort of comes in like an open sort of living sort of thing instead of, you know. Seems like they copy each other more and more. Like, did you see Cowboys and Aliens? Because, like, those aliens, they're like, what was original about them? They were, like, totally just every alien you've ever seen ever in your life. Yeah.
It's kind of a boring movie anyway, so.
I thought it was awful.
Yeah. It's very boring.
Yeah.
For what I thought it was going to be, Cowboys and Aliens, like, whoa, it's going to be pretty
It was good. It was like the movie I was most looking forward to all summer. And then it just failed miserably. Yeah. Come here. Come on. Here. Come here. This is Lucius. He's actually on the prowl. I better just let him do his thing. Okay. Yes.
And I also trained my tongue to do this.
You trained your tongue?
Because my brother can do it, but all I could do is this.
I can't do it.
I've always been able to bend my tongue, like lengthways.
Yeah.
But I've never been able to roll my tongue.
No, I can't. I can't do it.
So my brother could do it, and I couldn't do it. So I trained myself.
So how did you train yourself to do it?
I just kept trying to like push my tongue in that direction and hold it there so that it has a muscle memory.
How did you push it that way? I can't even. I'll have to get in there and fold it around. I can't do it.
But my brother, the one thing my brother can still do that I cannot do, although I've been trying to like train myself, he can actually, I don't really want to be able to do it honestly. He can touch his top of his nose with his tongue.
That's ridiculous.
I can't do it.
No, I don't think I could.
He can actually pick his nose with his tongue. It's so gross.
No, that's disgusting. That's not great.
But it's hilarious.
I don't think I'm going to encourage that behavior around the house. No. My oldest son sits and eats his toes. Like, you know how people like are real nail biters?
Yeah.
Well, he is not only a real hand nail biter, like you can't, his fingers are ridiculous. But he sits when he watches TV, he does the same with his,
No!
Yeah, he does. He does. It's so disgusting.
No.
I tell him
You
all the
gotta
time.
tell him not to do that. It's disgusting.
Yeah. It's gross. It's awful.
Although, now that I think about it, if you think about it, it's probably more germs on the back of your fingers than probably your toes, if you think about it.
I don't know.
Unless he goes around barefoot. If he wears socks and shoes, it's probably actually more hygienic than him biting his nails.
No, he goes around barefoot and he wears. Does this count as a little known fact that my son?
No, it's all disgusting.
He wears. Like, this is the strangest genetic thing I've ever seen. My father-in-law wears big woolen socks, and they're like hiking socks, whether it's summer or winter or whatever. And my oldest son likes the exact same kind of sock. He won't wear a regular, like, just white gym sock. He wears these huge, massive woolen hiking socks with shorts. But then when he gets home, he rips them off so he can, like, eat his feet. Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty disgusting. Yeah. Yeah, that was a little known fact. I don't know if it counts or not.
That's not about you.
It wasn't technically about me, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have one more.
I have one more to go. So I thought I was going to be doing two. So, let's see. I used to be in this, I went to, this is sort of a bigger little known fact, or it might be a known fact. I went to the American school in Aberdeen, Scotland for my high school years. And there was this radio show on Friday nights called The Rock Show. And I was like a real rock chick sort of girl, like I was, the real rock chick girl. And there was like this write-in club to the North Sound Radio Rock Club. And everybody had these pseudonyms that you went by, kind of like as if you were playing a video game or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's actually not where Strumpet comes from. Strumpet came a little later, but I was Hannah the Human.
What?
Yeah. That was me. I was Hannah the Human on the North Sound Radio Rock Show. So, yeah, and my best friend, her name was Skimbosh, and she dated Fenris the Wolf. And, and so we used to write in these letters, like requesting a song, and we'd say hi to all our friends with all their freaky names, So I was Hannah the Human, and my friend Adria Skimbosh, she used to always write like Hannah the Human was here in classrooms, like before people came in, and people would wonder what that was. It was like a big, like secret thing, like nobody knew who Hannah the Human was.
Where does that come from?
I had a character. We played D&D, the board version, like maybe 10 times, if that. And I was always like an elf, and I was always Silverleaf or Moonleaf or some, romantic elfy name. And one time I picked, and I was Nympho Grow once, the gnome. It was spelled GNYMF, and then Ogro like the like the Irish name. And then one time I just rolled a human, and I just said, okay, her name's Hannah, because I was sick of it. I thought D&D board games were actually, don't kill me, any true geeks sitting out there, but I actually think they're really boring. I mean, why do you want to do this if you had like a video game to do all the rolling and stuff for you? Anyway, so I was just sort of sick of it. I said, oh, her name's Hannah, so I was Hannah the Human. So, yeah.
I think it probably depends on who you play with. I mean, you really have to have a fun group of people to play with and really get into it. Like, I had some really cool friends who love to, like, do the actual role-playing and stuff, too, while you're playing. And it's so fun because, like, it's not just about stats and rolling and stuff. You actually start getting into things like, okay, like, I want to speak to the king. I was like, okay, you can roll, you can speak to the king. And so the guy would be like, all right, and then he'd start going off on how he would speak to him and be like this big political ploy and the manipulation and for me, I got to be able to do a bunch of offshoot sort of quests on my own because I really, really wanted this crawl, and so the dungeon master actually gave me this side quest to let me go look for a crawl, and I had to go to these gigantic, markets, and I had to go ask people, where I could find this and, all this stuff. And it was just really cool to sort of role play it out and everything.
Your dungeon master must have been really good at making it all come alive, though.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it also depends on the other fellow players, who help build the story for you as well. And it just can be really fun. I would imagine if it was just rolling and sort of saying, okay, well, now we've come across this beast, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The stats are blah, blah, blah. But I could probably say, that's pretty boring,
Yeah.
But it's just sort of if you don't add the pretend element to it, I don't think it's very fun. I mean, that's the beauty of video games, is it just adds the pretend element for you, so you don't have to have imagination.
Well, yeah, and I actually think that the video game, you do sort of have to have an imagination, because I think people who don't have a very good imagination actually don't like video games that much, because it requires a little bit of imagination to actually immerse yourself. You know,
I think
to
it's
actually
the desire to have, to immerse yourself in the in imaginary world.
Yeah. Okay. But what I find what I thought was so awesome when I played, I think Baldur's Gate was my first sort of real role-playing game on the computer, was that I didn't have to roll the damn dice, and I didn't have to, figure out how much armor that person had to sort of get past that. The computer did that for me. It sort of let me immerse myself much more easily without all that crap. So, yeah. And my favorite.
You fool!
Yeah.
I know you're lying to me.
Yeah.
How dare you?
That's right.
It's fun.
Yeah. No, it's good. So I'm now outed as Hannah the Human from North Sound Radio in Aberdeen, Scotland.
Hannah the Human!
Yeah. That was me. Yeah, it was kind of a boring name, really. Like, everybody else had these really, like, cool names.
Helter Skelter Yankee Lord.
Yeah.
Hannah the Human.
That was me. Yeah. It's actually kind of sad way to spend your Friday nights listening to this rock show, waiting to see who was requesting songs for who and blah blah. So.
The simpler times.
That's right, simpler times.
They were simpler.
Yeah. Did you ever write into any radio shows or anything like that?
I didn't write in. I called in.
Oh yeah.
But I discovered pretty early on, because I actually met a DJ and found out the insides of how the stuff works.
Yeah.
Where requests are actually not really requests. Because if they actually played people's requests when they requested them, then they would be playing the same song all day long.
Yeah.
So really, requests were nothing. They were just a way to help people be interested in the show and stuff like that. And if they had a request that came in that matched the song that they were going to play,
that's the one they
then they would just play that request before the song, but they already had a playlist and it was never going to change.
Yeah.
So I learned early on that when you call them up, like, hey, can you play Madonna's Holiday for me? And they'd be like, yeah, right on it. We'll be just keep listening. You'll hear it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I learned that pretty early on, that it was just a gimmick. So if you're out there listening to radio and you think you're requesting a song,
you're not. No. I actually, you picked Holiday. I was on Spotify looking at like 100 best songs lists or something, like of all time, and Borderline was on there. Borderline. And I thought, out of all the Madonna songs, that's the one you're gonna pick? I just thought it was such a strange pick. Of course, I blasted it like full volume.
Yeah. I was obsessed with Holiday. Obsessed. Because this was back before you had iTunes. That's how old I am. Before you had iTunes, stuff like that. So if you wanted to like listen to a song and you over and over again for yourself, you'd have to like have the tape player and you have to be ready to listen to it on the radio.
Kids, we used to have to rewind.
Record and play at the same time. Like when it came on, you're like, oh yeah, they said they're gonna play it. They said they're gonna play it. So you just sat there next to your radio.
And you had your pause button down. And
you had it into the record, and you're like, yeah, I got it. And then in order to repeat a song, the cool cassettes had the auto rewind. And then so it would play, and it would go. And then play again. I'm so old. Oh my god.
I sang Crazy for You at that was some radio event too. It must have been before I had like the rocker gene sort of in me. I think I must have been like 14 or 15, and I had these big white heart earrings, like totally Madonna-fied, So cassettes. I had a cassette. I had a Walkman.
Yeah, I had a Walkman too.
Yeah.
But I had one of those big jukebox type ones too, as well.
Oh yeah. I had one of those.
And then I had the Casio. The Casio was like hardcore, and I mean, you were like top notch if you had one of those fancy Casio, especially ones with the 2-tape ones.
A
So you could record
2-taper.
tapes. Yeah. Yeah.
You were cool. I think
Yeah.
the first cassette I ever bought was Pat Benatar. It was either Pat Benatar or the Go-Go's, and I had saved up for my parents gave me their old speakers, and I bought with my own money. I bought a cassette deck, and then they let me save up for half a receiver. You know, back when you used to have like a receiver and a cassette deck and a LP player sort of thing. So that was the first thing I ever got to play music on. Yeah. Now I just I'm like, my kids don't, they look at me like, what? It's right here. Why do you
to rewind a song to hear it again?
Yeah. What?
Not being able to have instant access to any song you want,
Yeah.
or even the best is like half the times you never knew what the hell song you loved.
No,
You know?
because you didn't know what it was called.
Yeah, you had to wait. You had to hope that the DJ would tell you what that song was called.
Who is that? Who's that? Who is that? And I actually used to listen to the top 40 shows every Sunday because
Casey Kasem.
yes, like Casey Kasem.
Yeah.
When we lived in California, this is just another little known fact. But from when I was 10 to when I was 12, I lived in California, and I remember I had these roller skates. This is like the early '80s, and a little tiny like radio thing, and I used to skate around in the neighborhood like round the blocks listening to Casey Kasem.
Holding
Holding the thing. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So cliche. I thought that was just a joke. I didn't think people actually did that.
Yeah, people did that. I remember I have a vivid memory of listening to Hall & Oates' Private Eyes. That shows you how old I am. But it was on the radio. Yeah.
My music began at with Madonna's Like a Virgin.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson's Thriller. That's the
awesome.
beginning, the very first start. I think I was like 5 years old, and that's the beginning of where I started liking music. And
That's like, yeah. I remember seeing, in Britain, there's a show called Top of the Pops. I don't know if it's still on. It might still be on, but it's like it's like a half-hour show, and they have at least they used to have like a countdown of the top 20 or something, and then they sometimes had artists actually live in studio lip syncing.
Oh, yeah.
And Madonna came on with Like a Virgin. I remember that was the first time I was like, oh my God, this woman is totally insane. She's like, but I loved her. She had this pink wig on, and I think I actually found the YouTube video once. She had this long, straight-haired pink wig on, and she was like, just writhing all over the floor of the Top of the Pop studios, and it was just amazing. I was like, wow, this woman's insane. I love her.
Come here for a second, please.
Why?
Just come here.
Why?
Come here.
What are you talking about?
Strumpet.
Wait, this is on your show.
Tell him
Yeah.
John said hi to you yesterday, so yeah.
Just say hello to her.
This is on your show.
No. Just say
You
hello.
just said it was on your show.
We're doing the show. Just come say hello.
But this is on your show.
Come here. Oh my gosh.
We can hear you. Scoot.
What are you doing?
It's like we can see like your shoulder and
camera in the way.
elbow. There he is. Hi.
Tell her what your first cassette tape was.
MC Hammer
Oh my gosh.
Are you serious, MC Hammer? Like you can't touch this?
or Vanilla Ice, one of the two.
Like you can't touch this? Did you have the baggy pants?
Da-na-na-na. Da-na. That one?
Mm-hmm.
Did you like listen to the songs over and over again?
Mm-hmm.
Did you dance to them?
No.
Not even in your room?
Not even in your room?
No. I
Like,
played Final Fantasy to them.
What?
Yeah, I had Nintendo.
Oh,
Final
that.
Fantasy.
to like MC Hammer songs?
To MC Hammer songs and Vanilla Ice?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of breaking your
Vanilla
heart.
Ice. Yeah. Ice, ice, baby. Yeah.
And then I had a bunch of stuff that was copied off the radio.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I used
You're
to.
not in.
No.
I went with my friend once to the States in between, like this summer, like when we were in Scotland, and we taped like just hours and hours of cassettes. We just left them running so that we had them when we came back to school. Because back
Yeah.
then, Britain was
Yeah.
even more further behind than they are now. It was like, it wasn't like instant. So, yeah. Bye.
Insolent.
Yeah. Daisy's killing that ladybug.
Oh, you know, I think I shorted out. I think
Yeah.
he shorted out my
Yeah.
my mic. Can you hear me?
No, you're gone.
You can't. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, he static electricity me and it shorted out the mic.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It went, and I felt it, you know, zap my ear.
He did that as
Oh, that was a good
revenge.
5 for 5. I think our first good 5.
I think
Let's
that was
start
great.
for our first one.
Yeah. Hopefully people like will watch the whole thing.
I'll put bonus sad if you watch the whole thing.
Yeah, there you go. I better get taping on my other stuff I want to tape today. So
Yeah.
play with my new camera. It was good to see you. Bye.
Thank you.